Mid-afternoon, the woodpile isn't going to stack itself. You've already split 2 cords this week. This last row finishes the north wall. The NOAA radio murmured something about isolated severe storms after 6 p.m. You heard it. You've heard it every other Thursday this season. The batteries are topped off. The charge controller hums, nothing unusual. Then something behind the ears, not pain, pressure. A deep, slow push like descending in an airplane. You stop mid-stack. The wind that was gusting has gone completely still. The trees at the ridgeline aren't moving at all. You've watched the barometer needle swing before. Every storm looks like the end of the world on that gauge. The ears popping, probably just the pressure system rolling through. You've felt that before too. Then the horizon shifts, not dark gray, something else. Bruised purple bleeding into a putrid, luminescent green, the color of sunlight refracting through a hail core the size of a county. And the question lands, how do you know with total certainty that this is the moment to stop everything and move? Every person who has died defending their property from a tornado-level windstorm had a reason. The panels they wired in themselves. The livestock they raised from nothing. The half-finished repair that just needed 10 more minutes. The attachment is real, the compulsion makes complete sense, and it will kill you. The trigger for moving is not a judgment call. It is a checklist. Bruised purple-green horizon. Physical pressure in the ears, the body registering infrasound the conscious mind can't hear. Either one alone means watch closely. Both together mean move, no exceptions. The pre-retreat sequence has 3 steps. First, go to the utility room and isolate the solar array from the battery bank. Pull the DC disconnect. If the panels rip free in high wind, and they will, you do not want live wiring dragging across the roof. That is how you trade a structural collapse for a structural collapse plus a fire. Second, seal every opening, every window latched, every door closed and locked. Not to keep the wind out, the wind will win. To keep the structural envelope intact long enough to reach the cellar. Third, leave. The cabin is no longer yours to defend. It belongs to the storm. You're inside now. The air has weight to it, a physical pressure against the ears and chest that doesn't let up. Storm light strobes gray-white through the last unsealed pane. This is what a sealed structural envelope feels like when it's working. It will not work forever. For generations, people were told to crack a window during a tornado, equalize the pressure. It sounds like physics. It is the opposite of physics, and it is the single most dangerous thing you can do to this structure right now. When a windward window fails, hit by a 2x4 traveling like a spear, the wind enters the cabin. The interior pressure inverts. The structure inflates. At the same moment, the wind racing over the roof is already pulling upward with enormous suction. Internal push plus external suction. The roof-to-wall connection sees forces it was never designed to survive. Traditional toe-nailed roof connections are the weakest link in any wood frame structure. Post-disaster surveys show they fail consistently, long before the walls do, long before the framing members crack. Once the roof lifts, the walls lose their lateral support. They fold. Here is what the human brain cannot calculate intuitively. A jump from 100 miles per hour to 130 miles per hour sounds like a 30% increase. The wind force on this cabin is 70% greater. Not 30, 70. The math is why people get the timing wrong every single time. The cellar steps are narrow. The flashlight beam swings across raw concrete as you descend. Overhead, the cabin begins to give a deep, percussive crack as the first roof section releases. You feel it through the soles of your feet. An interior hallway feels like shelter. A bathroom feels like shelter. They are not. Standard wood framing, sheathing, and drywall will not stop a 15-pound 2x4 traveling at 100 miles per hour. That is the FEMA standard for what kills people in a tornado-level event, and a standard closet fails it completely. A real safe room, one that meets FEMA P361 and ICC 500 standards, has a minimum of 6 inches of reinforced concrete or insulated concrete forms on every surface. The door is not a door. It is a certified heavy-gauge steel assembly with multiple deep-set deadbolts, tested as a complete unit. Swap in standard hardware and you have voided its protection entirely. For an off-grid cabin with a subterranean cellar, there is one more requirement that most people overlook. The cellar ceiling, which is also the cabin floor above you, must be reinforced to carry crushed loads. Because the cabin is going to come down, and when it does, it comes down directly overhead. The door is bolted, the concrete holds. Your only job now is discipline. Stay low, stay sealed. The structure above is no longer yours to control. You wait. Something in this room, though, is not stone or steel, and it does not care that the wind is at its worst right now. The smell arrives before anything else. Acrid, sharp, not the damp earth smell of the storm, something closer, something with an edge, and it is coming from the direction of the stove. The extreme negative pressure created by the storm has completely reversed the wood stove's chimney draft. Instead of exhausting upward and out, the flue gases are being pulled back down the chimney and pushed out through the stove's air intakes. Carbon monoxide is pooling in the lowest part of the structure, where you are. Carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms do not arrive as a warning. They arrive after your judgment is already gone. Headache, nausea, confusion. By the time you feel those things clearly enough to name them, your ability to act on them is already compromised. At 400 parts per million, you have less than 2 hours before you cannot get up. The only correct response is simple. Never rely on a naturally drafting stove during an extreme wind event. And if you smell acrid smoke in a sealed shelter while the storm is still running, that is a ventilator evacuate decision, not a wait and see one. A new sound, low, continuous. A hiss from the direction of the utility room that doesn't stop. Then the smell, sweet, metallic, chemical, not smoke, something that has no business being in the air. The roof collapse has crushed the lithium battery bank in the utility room. A mechanically damaged lithium cell does not fail immediately. Internal short circuits generate heat that builds over minutes, sometimes hours, before triggering full thermal runaway. The hiss and the sweet chemical smell are the warning, not the danger itself. The danger is what comes after. Thermal runaway vents a toxic, flammable mix of hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and ethylene before any visible flame. Do not approach. Do not investigate. Do not apply water. Water spreads conductive electrolyte and can worsen the reaction. The only move is distance. Isolate the area. Let it burn out if it ignites. The battery is already gone. The question is whether you go with it. You made it through the wind, the reversed smoke, and the failing battery. Most people would call that survived, but the most dangerous phase of this entire event hasn't started yet, and it's waiting in your own front yard. Morning, pale gold light breaking through torn cloud cover. The cabin stands roofless in places. The yard is a maze of downed timber. It is quiet, almost peaceful. That quiet is the trap. Off-grid cabin storm survival statistics are clear on this. The recovery phase carries its own injuries, its own fatalities. And the single most dangerous object in this yard right now doesn't look dangerous at all. It looks like a bent sapling. A spring pole is what chainsaw safety instructors call a sapling pinned under fallen timber. The wood has been bent under enormous weight. It is storing massive kinetic energy. If you cut it from the top, the tension side, the stored force releases instantly. The wood whips, the chainsaw goes with it. The correct technique, read the bind before you start the saw. Make small, shallow release cuts on the compression side, the inside of the bend, where the bark is wrinkled. Bleed the tension gradually. When the wood has relaxed enough that it stops pulling against the saw, then make the final cut. If someone is pinned under fallen timber, the rescue itself carries a separate hazard. Crush syndrome. When a long compression injury is suddenly released, toxic metabolites from damaged muscle flood the bloodstream. Kidney failure. Fatal cardiac arrhythmias. Releasing the weight is not the end of the emergency, it is the beginning of a different one. Stabilize first, move second. What got you through this was never one decision. It was the full chain. Recognize the precursors, body first, sky second. Abandon the structure at the right moment, not the last moment. Understand why sealing the envelope matters and why it has a hard expiration. Reach an engineered shelter, not a closet, not a hallway. Manage the invisible hazards that come after the wind, the reversed smoke, the failing battery. And survive the recovery without becoming its own casualty. Most preparation stops the moment the wind dies. It leaves the back half of the event completely unaddressed. That gap is what this was about. The wind is only the first half of surviving off the grid. Subscribe to Gridfall Survival for more videos like this. Prepare, adapt, outlast.